Okay, game crafters, let's make some pixel art. We're going to go to File, New in Photoshop, and we're going to make a new file that is 50 by 50 pixels, keeping the resolution at 50 pixels per inch, and we're hit OK. You're going to make sure your navigator is up. That's going to allow you to see the image as it would in your card or printed component. Then we're going to hit Control 0 so we can see what we're doing here. Or you could just go to View, Zoom in, or Fit on Screen. To get the navigator up, you just go to Windows, Navigator. I already have it up, so I'm not going to click it. I guess the very important thing you need to know here is you're going to have to change your brush tool to a pencil tool. Bring it down to 1 inch. I'm sorry, 1 pixel. Then you're going to go to View, Show Pixel Grid. You're going to make sure that's unclicked. By default, I believe that is clicked or checked, so you'll make sure that that's checked off. Otherwise, you're going to get some weird strokes around your images. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing we do with the pencil with the eraser tool. And we're going to go to the eraser tool and we're going to make sure the mode is set to pencil. By default, it's set to brush. We're going to make sure it's on the pencil tool. That's going to allow for the eraser to not erase in gradations. Just to note, when you use the brush tool at 1 pixel, you're going to get gradations instead of a solid line. So we're going to Control Z that. That's your hotkey for undo. And we're going to go back to the pencil tool, and you're going to see how you can make really smooth images here. Well, obviously not smooth, but you're going to be able to make some pretty bold lines here. I'm going to Control Z that. Okay, so we're going to make a heart. We're going to go ahead and make a new layer. We're going to go to the custom shape tool, and we're going to pick a heart from the menu. We're going to make sure anti-alias is unclicked. We're going to go over here and check to make sure the pixels is clicked rather than the shape or the path. Normal's fine. Then we're going to hold down Shift, and we're going to drag that out. We're going to get this awesome heart. Now, I want my heart to be symmetrical, so we're going to do a little trick here. We're going to cut right down the end of the heart here, right down the middle of the heart, I should say. So let's just find that middle. That looks like the perfect middle. We're going to pick which half we like best, and we're going to copy it. We're going to make a new layer. We're going to delete this one. Alright. Then we're going to go to Edit, Paste. Then we're going to go to Edit, Paste again. So now we're going to have 2 layers, one with two halves of the heart. We're going to go to Transform. We're going to transform that one horizontally. Go over here to the Move tool. And we're going to just match those up perfectly. You can choose whether you want to do it a fat heart or a skinny heart. I'm going to go with the skinny one. Then we're going to go over here. We're going to hit Control E. That's going to make the 2 halves merge. Then we have our heart. We're going to go ahead and we're going to fill that red. Now, an interesting note for colors, you don't want to use the completely saturated color, as we're already using a very contrasting media with the pixel art, so we're going to use slightly less saturated colors when we're dealing with pixel art, so we're not competing with the contrast of the actual pixels. Just going to hit OK, and we're just going to fill that heart right in, and I think that looks pretty awesome. Actually, I kind of want this to be a little darker, because we're going to be shading that in with a really cool shading method. So let's get somewhere around there. Cool, I like that better. So now we have our heart. Let me show you guys how to make sure that anti-alias is checked. Alright, I'm going to show you guys how to shade this in a really awesome, quick, and unique way. First thing, we're going to make a new layer. Second, we're going to turn that layer into an overlay layer. We're going to bring the opacity down to 50-ish. Then we're going to change these colors to black and white. What this allows you to do using the pencil tool is make highlights and shadows very easily with the overlay layer. So we're going to make some shadows here. I'm going to actually go around the perimeter. This will only take a second here. It's going to give us a nice outline. And rather than just outline everything in black, we're going to make a cool shade here. It just makes a deeper red. I think it's more professional looking. And you don't want to outline everything in black. As again I mentioned earlier, pixel art's already pretty contrasting. So to use different tones and hues will make for a much more interesting image. Just finishing up right here with the outline. Alright. May have noticed I messed up a few spots. That's okay, because we already have our eraser all set up. And there we go. You can see how we have a pretty awesome heart already. And you can use that to bring it down lower or bigger. The next thing we're going to do is we're actually going to make some highlights. I like to make some highlights in here. We're going to make it look like the light's coming from over on this direction onto the heart. I'm just going to just start drawing with the pencil tool. Some cool, I'm just going to do a little circle over here. And I'm paying close attention to my navigator because that's really where I'm getting a lot of my information from. It looks like I may have overdid this a little bit. So I'm going to go to my eraser tool. I'm going to kind of clean this up a little bit. Kind of make it look like we just have a nice little shimmer. Yeah. Maybe just a little more off the top here, or the bottom. And that looks cool to me. And then another thing you can do to intensify the shadows and highlights, you can just turn the opacity up. Or obviously vice versa, you can bring it down. I like it somewhere around the 50 or 60 line, so you can kind of see the shadows and highlights. But this is a really awesome, quick, and easy way to shade your images without actually having to go and pick the colors that best represent the highlights and shades. Yeah, we could have just shaded this in white, and I'll show you what that would look like. And I think it would look a little less appealing, just because of how incredibly contrasting the white is. But to each his own, and if you like that look, then go for it. But to me, it kind of almost looks like there's just like a hole in the heart of white if you look here. And I'm not a huge fan, so I'm going to go ahead and delete that layer. And then I'm going to show you one last thing to kind of make your images look pretty awesome. We're going to go ahead and make a new layer. We're going to put it underneath the other layers. At this point, if you really like your image the way it is and you want it to be one layer, you can always click them together, right click, and merge the layers, and you won't have any you won't be able to edit the other layer, but you'll have one continuous layer that you can move around and edit as one layer. Alright, I'm going to leave my two layers separate, just in case I want to edit them later. I'm going to do one last thing. I'm going to make my background layer an actual layer here. And then I'm going to go to blending options, and then we're going to go to gradient overlay. And already you can see it looks kind of cool, but we're going to pick something that's going to maybe contrast that a little better. And I kind of like the way that looks, although again I want to turn down the saturation on some of these colors here. There we go. Kind of mutes a little bit and lets the heart pop out. Now I kind of want to, I'm going to get rid of this. I'm going to bring this here. I'm going to turn this into a radial gradient. I'm going to bring that scale down a little bit. And we can go back, we can double click the gradient, and we can kind of play around with how it looks, and we can bring it in closer. If we bring the pieces in, I gotta delete that. If I bring the little swatch icon a little closer together, we're going to get a shorter gradation. And I think really when you're dealing with these pixelated images, you're kind of going for that. You don't want a lot of gradation. And then we're going to scale it back a little bit. Then we can move our heart. Oh, I'm going to move them together. We can move our heart right here. And I think that looks pretty cool. Probably, if I were to continue working on this, I'd probably work on the gradient a little more. And, maybe pick some better colors to go along with the heart. But let's do one last thing to this heart. I'm going to duplicate the layer. And going to put it on the bottom, and then I'm going to go to blending options. I'm going to go to color overlay. I'm going to turn that white. I'm going to go to the middle layer. This is the actual. If you go here, see now we have a white. If we turn this off, you'll see that we have just a white background under there. And just to make something that looks kind of cool, we're going to erase some of this here, half of this heart, to make it look like a half full heart. I'm using a bamboo graphing tablet. It only cost me about $60-70. I gotta tell you, I get a lot of use out of it, especially with the game crafting. So I'm gonna start here and hope this lines up. Evenly. Cool. Just go down the middle here. I'm just filling this in white, and you'll be able to see it looks like a half-filled heart, like maybe if you were playing Zelda and you were had like a you got hit, or if on your cards you needed a half-filled value of a card, like a half-valued hit point. You can see what the individual layers kind of look like. I'm going to turn that back on. And I guess to wrap this up, I'm going to show you the most important thing to making pixel art is saving the image. You're going to have to make it larger. So you're going to go to Image, and you're going to go to Image Size, and you're going to make the image as big as you need to make it. So let's just say, you know, you're going to need it to be 2 inches for your card or your printed media, and that's going to bring it from 50 pixels to 100 pixels. The most important thing you have to do is go down this drop down menu and go to nearest neighbor. That's going to preserve those hard edges. Hit OK, and we're going to hit Control 0 so you can see all of it. And you can see that the hard pixels weren't lost, and I think it looks pretty awesome if you ask me. And I hope this helped, and can't wait to hear your feedback.